Well, Mark, we get into some legal issues as well. That's why we have you here from Stiles Law on Route 139 in Marshfield. We talk about a variety of subjects. And this morning we're going to talk about the question sent in was, what is the difference between a note and a mortgage? What is the difference between a note and a mortgage?
You know, Rob, it's a great question, and obviously with the rates being as low as they are and folks are starting to refinance again and the purchase market, most people finance their purchases, right? Not a lot of people can write a check and buy a house. So when they go and they obtain financing, part of the closing documentation is the promissory note, right? So the lender, your bank, your mortgage company, has agreed to lend you a certain amount of money so long as you pay that money back at a certain interest rate. And that's all spelled out in the promissory note. What are the terms? What is the agreement? I am willing to pay you back at this interest rate, starting on this date, ending on that date. It's due on the 1st of the month, and it's late on the 15th of the month. That's the note. That's the contract. So the bank says, if you agree to sign this note, we'll agree to lend you that money. Now, that's great. You're contractually bound to make the payment, but who's to say you will make those payments back? And if you don't make those payments back, what would happen? If there was no mortgage signed, then the bank would have to sue you. They'd have to go to court. They'd have to get a judgment. They'd have to get an execution. They'd have to take that execution, levy that. It would be a disaster for them. So what you, as the borrower, agree to do is you agree to then voluntarily lien your property back. And that's through the mortgage. It's called a security instrument. And it's a security instrument because it's securing that position for the bank. So the bank has agreed to pay you. You have a contract with a note, but now the mortgage is recorded to secure that payment back. And what that means is they have the ability to redeem through a statutory power of sale that you have signed. You basically say, if I don't pay, if I don't follow through with my obligations, you have the right to move forward and redeem that property back. So in essence, what happens procedurally is you receive a deed. That deed grants you ownership. So the seller conveys a deed, the property, over to you for a certain amount of money. You own that property. But because you have to borrow that money, you sign the note. And because you're borrowing that money from an institutional lender, they're going to ask you to sign a mortgage, in essence, granting rights back to them. So the funny thing is what we see a lot, and it's a term that's used in our industry, is I need to get a mortgage. You hear people say, I need to get a mortgage. Well, that's actually factually incorrect, because you're not getting a mortgage, you're granting a mortgage. Mm-hmm. You're getting financing, you're obtaining financing, and in exchange, you grant back the mortgage. So, circling back, the note is the contract, the agreement to pay. The mortgage is the security that you voluntarily give to the bank in exchange for them to do this. Does that make sense, Rob?
It makes sense to me. Thank you for clearing that up. I understand it better.
Yeah, tell you, the guy explains it, very easily.
Very well.
Very good.
That's Mark Stiles of Stiles Law. So if people have additional questions, they want to make up an appointment or talk more with Mark Stiles in a one-on-one or his team, Mark, how do they do that?
So phone is always the best, 781-319-1900. And as you know, Rob, we also have a YouTube channel at Stiles Law, where we have over 100 videos of questions just like what you asked me. You know, closing process, estate planning process, business formation, all of those frequently asked questions. We try to simplify those complex theories in our videos. And we encourage people to go there and learn a little bit, get to know us, but also get some questions answered. So the YouTube channel, the phone again is 781-319-1900. But we always encourage folks that if they're working with a financial, insurance, tax, real estate, or mortgage professional, and the topic of legal services does come up, and it will, ask to work with the team at Stiles Law, because we'd love to help.
Stiles Law on Route 139 in Marshfield, stiles-law.com. It's a Feel Good Friday segment.